Hey guys, it's Avondale, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Walls, where I take you behind the walls of the Gameshow games. I'd like to remind you, as always, that if you haven't watched the episode yet, make sure to go watch it. I've got a link for you somewhere up there for you to go check it out. Now that you've had time to do that, I'd like to welcome my guest for the day, Gregan. How's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, just great. I'm glad that intro went so smoothly. And we are at a funky-looking version of Gridlock, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, it just looks so old school game show. There's the decorations really basic, and well, the walls are obsidian, which is
they're pure bedrock.
Oh, is it bedrock?
They're pure bedrock.
Obsidian.
Yeah, it's a pretty great texture.
Yeah, I mean, we had to block them off.
That's right. Back in the days when this happened, you know, there was no option to toggle mob damage or anything like that. So these were bedrock purely to prevent damage from contestants, even, not only mobs.
Yeah. Check out these funky dispensers as well, like, because we couldn't just spawn mobs with command blocks and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. So, and I think if you walk over this pressure pad here, doesn't it, like, it trips that clock, and you can hear them trying to spit stuff out. That's pretty good. That.
Oh, and we got the old lapis blocks here. Place it on the lapis blocks, but you could. Oh, I'm just coming back.
Way to go! What'd you do? Right click with the compass?
Yeah. So if you place it like that, then they literally just have broken their pressure plate. Wow. Could they break it at that time?
I think they would break it with their hand, and it would just destroy it, and so we had to help bot them when they did that.
Yeah, because they didn't have a pickaxe, so if they misplaced it, then they literally just wouldn't be able to get it back, and it would take a lot of time out of their
Although, interestingly, we tried to fix this in 1.8, but we noticed something interesting that we hadn't anticipated. We had a couple people in testing after we played the game in the episode that placed it here, and it would trip my redstone but not open the door. So we had to help bot that as well when we had that happen. Kind of funny that we missed that. Anyways, we are here in the original version of Gridlock because we wanted to show sort of the iterations of this game, how it's progressed, and there's no better place to start than from the beginning. This is the original style of the map. And one thing we want you to notice while we're here is that there's a few rooms that ended up making it in all the way through into the episode that you just watched. So we have that one there, this one here with the spiders, and then this one more or less was there as well, but I think we changed the design a little bit.
The floor was brought up a bit as well, I think.
Yeah, and then I guess you could say this water one was technically brought over, but we changed that quite a bit as well. Looks quite a bit better. Yeah, so I guess we've seen enough of the old one. Let's go ahead and head over to the new one, and we'll see what we think about that.
Let's go!
Alright, here we are. So we are in the current version of Gridlock, as the walls slowly load around me. We started them up here in their lobby, just like always. We like to do these miniature versions of the game in these lobbies here. So you see we get the little chest heads down below. We're sort of demonstrating how you'd find chests in different types of rooms, and then the last room you'd have to pull a lever. So yeah, sad fact about this game, the day that we recorded this one, I actually had to work. And we were slow starting recording. We had some technical difficulties getting the teams on and getting them set up, people lagging out, you know, the normal stuff that goes wrong with Gameshow. And the match that we had this night, I was able to be here for the first game, and then the very beginning of this game. I got this game started and on its way, but then I had to run out the door, so I actually didn't see this game get played. Or the game that comes in the next episode, which I almost spoiled, but then I remembered you guys haven't seen it yet. So that's a good thing I didn't do that. But we can talk a little bit about how this game was actually put together. And that's why I brought Gregan on here, because he helped to build a lot of these rooms in sort of a competition style thing that we had. We'll talk about that in a second, but if you want to hop down here, Gregan, I want to show sort of some of the mechanics of this game before we do that. Most of the redstone for this game is located right in between the rooms. It was just the easiest place to put it. There was a pretty specific reason we put it this way, but at the time it was a great idea, but I actually just had a thought that it might have been better if we had included it in these chunks here. And I'll show you why that is. If we come over to the center here and drop down through, you'll get to a little redstone area. This is where most of the logic is for resetting the game. But we can actually go further down below this here. And you'll see that way down below here is actually where the original versions of these rooms are. Now, when you reset this game, it clones all of these rooms up here to make sure that every team gets a fresh slate, you know, the leaves aren't broken, stuff like that. So it's pretty important to give them a pristine environment, but having these rooms down here like this means that it would be really easy for us to sort of interchange these in and out like I do with the tiles in the Decision Dome. And that's kind of where Gregan's going to come in, so if we head over to that spot, you guys will be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so we made it back. We're back on the server that we were originally on, and we are looking here at a crazy variety of Gridlock rooms. So what was this all about, Gregan?
Well, we kind of wanted to make Gridlock better, because those rooms we had originally, some of them were a bit bland, and so we thought, why don't we make a load of rooms and then choose the best 9 for the episode? And then it kind of went a bit crazy, and we thought, why don't we just make loads of rooms so that we can make it interchangeable in the future? Because at the time we didn't know that we would have enough games, so we thought we might have to reuse some games. And also in the future, for different seasons, we might want to make a different Gridlock with different rooms in it. So we set up this area and just said to people, come over and make your own little grid. So if you come over into the far corner, you'll see some empty grids. And we just said, do what you want in this area, but just make it so that if we want to change where the door is, it will still work. So you'll see underneath there's loads of extra grids, and they've got different door layouts, so that we could put it into different corners of the grid or different locations.
And you actually brought up an interesting point in the middle of that. We knew going into this season that we were going to have to reuse games, and we didn't want to reuse them in the exact state that we had used them the first time, because, I don't know, back before I started working on Gameshow, before I joined the Noxcrew even, one of the biggest draws to the Gameshow for me was seeing what new stuff the guys came up with to... you know, what new games there were in each episode. That was the best part of the episode for me. Besides the Decision Dome, I guess. I loved that thing, and I was crushed when they took it away. But yeah, it was like, that was a huge thing to me, was what new games are they going to make this episode? I'm so excited to see what they can do. And reusing games for, you know, season 1, I guess now we're calling it, seemed a little impure to me, I guess, because, you know, if you're reusing the old game, that you kind of lose that wonder. So it was really important to us as a team when we were remaking these games to make sure that we updated them, made sure the builds were using new blocks that have been released in Minecraft since the original days, and just to make sure that we're capturing the potential but keeping that sense of, you know, what are we going to see next mentality with the audience. And I guess another thing I wanted to mention is the this didn't start from here. It actually started as a build competition that we do every once in a while. And so if we warp, I think that'll get me there. Yeah, so if you want to TP to me, Greg, and I actually just warped us to the contest grid over here. We do these very, very sporadically. I'd say there's probably 2 build competitions a year. But the idea was, okay, we want a bunch of ideas for rooms for Gridlock and Lockdown. This was actually before we filmed the EP6 of the pilot season with, you know, Sky Does Minecraft and Captain Sparkles facing off against each other. This was where we created some extra rooms for Lockdown because we really weren't all that happy with the original ones that had come for that game. And so if you remember the middle room, the pitfall room in that episode, this was one of the ones that I made during the contest, and it got chosen to be used during that. It obviously got touched up a little bit. You can see here that I wasn't really focused too much on the building aspect of how it looked. I just wanted to make a cool mechanic for the room. But yeah, you know, there's the idea was, here you go, you get 9 gridlock grid squares and you get 9 lockdown grid squares. Go ahead, build as many as you want, take a day or two, and in the end we had an anonymous vote to see who did the best, and then the winner got some free Steam games or something. Pretty sure Skyo won that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Skyo had some pretty good levels on here.
Yeah.
I think quite a few of them got used for the lockdown.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see if we can fly around and find him, actually. Okay, I found it. So, yeah, this was Skyo's contest entry. I'm pretty sure this jungly looking overgrown room here made it in. This ice room was in, but they took this top center bit out because it blocked the camera. And then I think this room here made it as well, the one that looks like a worm's mouth. This was Lockdownception here.
I like that one.
If I remember correctly, it was kind of a maze, but it was, you know, the idea was to build the game inside of a square. It's just kind of neat. I thought the coolest looking one was this one here, and I was sad that this one didn't get used. The idea was to bring sort of the factory aspect of the Noxcrew Gameshow into this this style of game, but it's just, there's no way you can use this room because how do you film it, right? Like,
yeah, it's quite deep, and then there's the things blocking out the top.
Yeah, the crane is really sort of overshadowing it. Okay, so this is Zerby's contest entries here, and I'm going to ignore those signs that Gregan is reading because they're totally not appropriate. I wanted to show you this right here. This is actually the first iteration of what ended up being the Decision Dome chicken for the automated Decision Dome. You'll notice here how much organic it is than the original Seasons chicken. And actually, hopefully, if I remember, I'll put a picture up over the screen right now so you guys can see the comparison. But yeah, it's
a similar design.
Well, Zerby was the one that made the chicken in the new Decision Dome, and he based it off from this design here. This is his original chicken. It's a lot more organic than the original one, and that's why we decided to use it for the new Decision Dome. Okay, yeah, Gregan, show us your rooms real quick, but I just noticed you didn't make any Gridlock rooms, and we're talking about Gridlock, so...
Yeah, I think at the time I was quite busy and didn't have much time to do the rooms, but I did quite enjoy making this Noxite one.
Yeah.
I think it was around a similar time of making loads of skins for Super Steve Runner, so I was kind of in the mood to make it.
It's interesting, is he like plugged in down here? Is that what's going on?
He's got I think he's holding a mic.
Oh, he's holding a mic, yeah.
And that's the plug.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other end of it's like dangling off his back, huh?
Yeah. Well, I think I made this in default, so it looks a bit funky.
Oh yeah, that's true. Let's see if we can find mine again. Oh yeah, here's mine. I wanted to show 2 of the rooms that I made for Gridlock that I really hoped would be used, but weren't. Take a look at this one here. I think you've seen this one before, but go ahead and try to do this room. Oh, come on, you call yourself a YouTuber? Talk.
I'm thinking. Please, 1 pressure pad. 1 pressure pad, please. So that was...
What would you like?
1...
No, pad?
Oh, no, I did the... Right. What would you like? 1... Ah, here we go. And then pressure was here?
No.
Ah, damn. Right, we'll go again. 1... pressure. I just remember it being in an N shape. Please, always remember your pleases and thank yous, and you'll get them in return.
And there's the pressure pad, and you hit that, and then you put it in front of the door and go out the room. It's just, Gridlock has always been about, you know, just fighting it up, and I wanted to put some brain work into these. Alright, so we're back at the actual game right now. And I just wanted to talk a little bit to wrap it up about sort of the variety of mobs that we chose and sort of why it worked out that way. So yeah, I mean, the goal was to get as many different types of mobs into the game as possible. So we did creepers here, skeletons there, stupid spiders that wouldn't attack you in here, silverfish. It was just kind of a wide variety of it, and I know that you played the game quite a bit. You played it in the rule video as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, this room here was a bit of a palaver because the creepers on the edge would blow you into the hole if you didn't want to go down there. And then there'll be a couple of creepers down here, so when you're looking in the chest, one will sneak up behind you. So this room, it very rarely kills you because you're starting off with the full health at the start, but it normally gets you down to a point where the skeletons in the next room can finish you off.
It wakes you up, right? Because, like, you start the game and your motive is, okay, we gotta find the pressure pad and we gotta get through here. And if you slow down and just kill the 2 creepers up top first, I think your life is a lot easier than if you just dive bomb in. But it's strange how the contestants sort of, you know, just go gung-ho for the pressure pad because that's what they have to do.
Yeah, and often all 3 players would run and jump into it if when we were doing it in testing. And so then you got 3 players all down in a hole.
And then creepers dive bombing you.
Yeah, then creepers dive bombing you, and then you've all got to climb out to get out. And really, you only need 1 person to go down.
Yeah.
It's quite a quick room if you can do it well.
Yeah, there is definitely potential if you know, if you were to be able to practice this game over and over again, you could blitz it for sure. Even when the pressure pad changes locations, which is kind of the eventual idea for this game, if we were to reuse a room, for example, we would just change where the pressure pad is. Kind of interesting thing about the way that we designed this, though, is like there's only really 2 rooms in the game where you can, I wouldn't necessarily say get overwhelmed, but that can affect you 2 times through, right? Because you can kill all the creepers the first time, you can kill all the skeletons the first time in here, but by the time you get to the slime one, the slimes are big, and you kill them and they break into smaller ones. We definitely saw a lot of people in testing get killed in this room.
Oh yeah, especially because people tend to run straight into the room and think, right, we should get the pressure plate quickly, we can move on.
Yeah.
Whereas actually this room is one you have to kind of take it slow, clear out the big ones until they're all small, and then you can ignore them.
And if you don't end up clearing them all out, then what happens when you die and have to run through again? They continue to be a nuisance.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Spider Room was a shame. I would have liked to revisit this and find a way to force aggro the spiders, or perhaps do some type of a room with, you know, aggroed pigmen might have been a nice challenge.
Yeah, this one's quite interesting though because of the fact this entrance, you can't jump off it very easily. I mean, if you time it perfectly, you can catch it, but it means people see the ladder in the middle. They know that chest is going to have the pressure plate in, so they just jump straight off the bat, and then they fall down here. And I don't know if it was just luck, but it seems to be that you land at a point where again you try and jump, and then you end up falling down right down to the bottom.
It's like your worst enemy in this game is fall damage and cobwebs.
Yeah, and then you get stuck down here, and I can imagine if you saw the spiders right down the bottom, you just swing a punch at them, and then you've aggroed them. And they're the cave spiders down there, so they may not be aggroed initially, but
they can get nasty.
Quite a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing, you know, when you're swimming underwater in the next room and you're getting smacked around by silverfish. Definitely another interesting part. I think the witch room was probably the most difficult room, though, at least when I tested it.
Oh yeah, because this point here, where you know you have to go inside. There's 2 witches here. One of them poisons you, and by the time you come back out or get in here, and there's another witch, they throw that instant damage and you're dead. It's like they're so clever, the witches, with the AI and the poison, that instant damage.
So yeah, we've talked quite a bit about Gridlock now. We've talked a lot about the origins of the game, and also a little bit about what we could have done potentially to improve it a little bit, and I'm sure we will continue to improve on this game, especially if we decide that it needs to go back on the Decision Dome in the future for whatever the future might hold for the game show. So final thoughts on Gridlock, Gregan?
I really like this game. It has so much potential for variation. Oh, sorry, I'm running around all over the place.
No worries. I'm just filming you.
It has a lot of potential for variation, and it's one of those games that you don't know what's going to be in the next room. And it definitely is pretty exciting as a player, and I hope it is as someone watching it.
Yeah, and I think it's the type of game, like, especially if we work it for future use, to be able to interchange the rooms more easily. It's something that even if you had just played the game yesterday, if we throw a whole new set of rooms at you, you're not even going to know how to do it. You're not going to have any type of advantage over the other team, even though you've already played the game. And that's something that's really fantastic about this type of concept. So that's been our thoughts on the behind the scenes of Gridlock. As always, let us know in the comments if there's any other questions you have, or any comments you have about the game, things we can do to improve in the future. So thanks a lot, Gregan, for coming on and talking about Gridlock.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see you again in the future for sure.
I hope I can be coming back.
Absolutely. I'm sure I'll work you in to something. Maybe Super Steve Run, or who knows. We'll see what's happening. But anyways, I've been Avondale with Gregan. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.
Let's go ahead and head over to the new one, and we'll see what we think about that.
Let's go.
Alright, let's head over there.
Are we going to the new one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not going to the competition.
Yeah. Okay, you ready?
Such an etho thing to do.
Pure bedrock.
Obsidian.
Yeah, it's a pretty great texture.
Yeah, I mean, we had to block them off.
That's right. Back in the days when this happened, you know, there was no option to toggle mob damage or anything like that. So these were bedrock purely to prevent damage from contestants, even, not only mobs.
Yeah. Check out these funky dispensers as well, like, because we couldn't just spawn mobs with command blocks and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. So, I think if you walk over this pressure pad here, doesn't it, like, yeah, it trips that clock, and you can hear them trying to spit stuff out.
Yes,
that's pretty
great,
good.
That. Oh, and we've got the old lapis blocks here. Place it on the lapis blocks, but you could. Oh, I'm just coming back.
Way to go! What'd you do? Right click with the compass?
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Avondale, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Walls, where I take you behind the walls of the Gameshow games. I'd like to remind you, as always, that if you haven't watched the episode yet, make sure to go watch it. I've got a link for you somewhere up there for you to go check it out. Now that you've had time to do that, I'd like to welcome my guest for the day, Gregan. How's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, just great. I'm glad that intro went so smoothly. And we are at a funky-looking version of Gridlock, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, it just looks so old school game show. There's the decorations really basic, and well, the walls are obsidian, which is
they're pure bedrock.
Is it bedrock?
Decorations of this game, how it's progressed, and there's no better place to start than from the beginning. This is the original style of the map. And one thing we want you to notice while we're here is that there's a few rooms that ended up making it in all the way through into the episode that you just watched. So we have that one there, this one here with the spiders, and then this one more or less was there as well, but I think we changed the design a little bit.
The floor was brought up a bit as well, I think.
Yeah, and then I guess you could say this water one was technically brought over, but we changed that quite a bit as well. Looks quite a bit better. Yeah, so I guess we've seen enough of the old one. Let's go ahead and head over to the new one, and we'll see what we think about that.
Let's go.
Alright, here we are. So we are in the...
So if you place it like that, then they literally just have broken their pressure plate. Wow. Could they break it at that time?
I think they would break it with their hand and it would just destroy it, and so we had to help bot them when they did that.
Yeah, because they didn't have a pickaxe, so if they misplaced it, then they literally just wouldn't be able to get it back, and it would take a lot of time out of their time.
Although, interestingly, we tried to fix this in 1.8, but we noticed something interesting that we hadn't anticipated. We had a couple people in testing after we played the game in the episode that placed it here, and it would trip my redstone but not open the door. So we had to help bot that as well when we had that happen. Kind of funny that we missed that. Anyways, we are here in the original version of Gridlock because we wanted to show sort of the current version of Gridlock as the walls slowly load around me. We started them up here in their lobby, just like always. We like to do these miniature versions of the game in these lobbies here. So you see we get the little chest heads down below. We're sort of demonstrating how you'd find chests in different types of rooms, and then the last room you'd have to pull a lever. So yeah, sad fact about this game, the day that we recorded this one, I actually had to work, and we were slow starting recording. We had some technical difficulties getting the teams on and getting them set up, people lagging out, you know, the normal stuff that goes wrong with Gameshow. And the match that we had this night, I was able to be here for the first